thank you for joining us on the news on NTA International, coming to you live from the nation's capital. I am Ruth Aguele. Let's take the headlines. Peace restored as President Muhammadu Buhari wades into leadership tussle of the 9th Senate. The Red Chamber holds valedictory session, says it has considered more than 600 bills. The African Union Peace and Security Council suspends Sudan in all its activities with immediate effect. And now we begin with legislative matters. The leadership tussle in the Senate may be easing off as two leader members in the race have decided to work together in the interest of peace and unity, both in the Senate and in the country. This is the outcome of a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari by the parties involved, Senator Ahmed Lawan and Senator Danjuma Goje, on the need for them to show more commitment to the nation and the APC. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It was a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor of Kaduna State Nasir El-Rufai. After the meeting, says steps have been on for some time now on how to unify the party's leadership in the National Assembly, starting with the Senate.
I'm pleased to announce that distinguished Senator Goje has agreed to fully endorse and support the choice of the party and that of Mr. President to lead the Senate, that is Senator Ahmed Lawan.
Asked if he was coerced to take the decision, Senator Danjuma Goje says as a leader, he has come to respect the value of leadership and therefore must take the honorable path. His position, he says, is due to the conviction that the right thing is being done by supporting Senator Lawan.
In spite of the support I have among my colleagues, senators-elect, I have decided, in difference to the loyalty I have for His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, and in difference to my loyalty to my party, APC, in the interest of the unity of our party and the development of this country, in order to assist Mr. President to deliver on his promises, I have decided to respect his wish by not declaring to contest this Senate presidency. Instead, I am supporting the position of the party and its own position, thereby endorsing the candidature of Senator Ahmed Lawan.
Showing appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for giving the right leadership, Senator Ahmed Lawan says the nation stands to benefit greatly from a robust and united Senate.
The endorsement by Senator Goje is going to bring so much unity in the APC and indeed in the entire Senate in a very bipartisan fashion. I believe that that is the way to go, and we want to go there into the 9th Senate united right from outside, kickstart our activities, very important at this time. The country needs a Senate that is focused and united for optimum performance, and I believe that our colleagues in the 9th Senate or the senators-elect will be happy to hear that this has been achieved.
Present at the meeting includes Senator-elect Ubasani from Kaduna State and the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters in the Senate, Ita Enang. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And the 8th Senate held its valedictory session, says within the last 4 years, it has considered more than 600 bills. The senators unanimously agreed that the 8th Senate made remarkable stride in the number of bills passed, describing it as the highest by any assembly in Nigeria's history. The Senate received 642 petitions and conceded 153. The legislators reiterated the condemnation of the snatching of its maize in 2018 by unknown persons, as they advised advised members of the 9th Assembly to improve on the experiences of the 8th Assembly in the interest of national development. The senators paid tribute to 3 of their departed colleagues. Similarly, it was a full house this Thursday at the National Assembly as the 8th House of Representatives held its valedictory session in the House chamber. The valedictory session, which was presided over by the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, had in attendance former speakers and members. The 8th National Assembly members expressed their appreciation for a successful tenure and in turn urged the incoming members to be patriotic in the discharge of their legislative duties and also work with the executive arm of government in tackling issues.
I'd like also, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the next assembly to remember to tell our new colleagues that our institution battles for existence in the tri-party relationship between the executive and the judiciary.
I still want to reiterate that we need to industrialize every local government so that we can give job to our teeming youths, we can create wealth, and we can lift our country from poverty.
Mr. Speaker, this place brings out the best in us, and it also has the capacity to bring out the worst in us. It is also a place for learning, Mr. Speaker. I have personally learned a lot.
Special prayers was offered for members who lost their lives during the process of serving the country. And in another development, Collector the National Assembly Mohammed Sani Omolori says he has received proclamation from President Muhammadu Buhari to dissolve the 8th National Assembly in line with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The clerk disclosed this to newsmen in Abuja.
The proclamation for the dissolution of the 8th National Assembly takes effect from 12 midnight on the 8th of June. By implication, on the 8th of June at 12 midnight, the 8th National Assembly stands dissolved. Similarly, the 9th National Assembly would be inaugurated and the first sitting will be held on Tuesday, 11th of June by 10 a.m. in the National Assembly complex.
And now the state chairman of the All Progressives Congress have passed a vote of confidence on the National Working Committee. Now this was made known at the end of a meeting between the chairman and members of the National Working Committee held behind closed doors. The meeting, according to the chairman, reviewed post-election matters involving aggrieved members of the party. More than 20 state chairmen attended the meeting, including National Working Committee members led by the national chairman, Adams Oshomole. And performance of troops of Air Task Force Operation Lafia Dole has been described as result-oriented, leading to favorable operational outcomes integrating the capability of Boko Haram in the northeast. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar said this in a message delivered by Air Force Chief of Training and Operation Air Vice Marshal Ishiak Amao at a luncheon organized for troops in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. Naomi Abwako reports.
The Chief of Air Staff has since assumption to office made it a duty to visit the troops at the front line, particularly those engaged in counter-insurgency operation in the northeast during festive periods, to celebrate with them.
He's appreciating all the effort of the members of the task force. They've been performing wonderfully well, and their actions have actually kept the head of the Boko Haram low within the theater.
While commending the efforts of the troops, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar acknowledged President Muhammadu Buhari's support to the Nigerian Air Force and urged the Air Task Force to remain disciplined and loyal, demonstrating the highest level of professionalism. Commander Air Task Force Operation Lafia Dole, Air Vice Marshal J.M. Gwani, expressed gratitude to the Chief of Air Staff for the reconstruction and remodeling of dilapidated aircraft shelters, as well as provision of necessary facilities that ensures comfort and effective service delivery. It was indeed a pleasant moment for both troops of the Air Task Force and the host community, as they were served with mouth-watering cuisines and cultural entertainments to mark the Eid al-Fitr celebration in the northeast. In Maiduguri, Naomi Abu, NTA News.
Nigeria's electoral process in the last 20 years has been described as one that's undergone various reforms that have improved the credibility of elections in the country. Now, this is the standpoint of guests on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, as they called on political parties to exhibit better traits of internal democracy. Daniel Aderiye reports.
Nigeria's electoral process in the last 20 years, guests on Good Morning Nigeria believe has seen the good, the bad and the ugly, and in recent times more credibility with electoral reforms to ensure fairness, equity and justice. They emphasized that the positive changes being witnessed in the electoral process has yielded results in advancing the nation's democratic culture, evident with the electoral umpire's unbiasedness in increasing more political participation.
What is important is the determination, and I think for these 20 years we've seen progress, but all in all we are a determined people, and the institutions are also beginning to respond to the fact that we are civilianizing our language.
In the last 20 years, Nigeria has learned quite a lot in trying to perfect the process. Those saddled with the responsibility of the electoral process, such as the electoral umpire, the security, services, and what have you, also trying to perfect the ways and means of ensuring that the system is not flaunted.
They also commended the judiciary's commitment in the electoral system through landmark judgments.
Courts are actually taking over the space that has been provided by the irresponsibility of members of the political class. And I think that's the logical outcome of that.
They unanimously agreed that the improvement has also increased citizens' participation. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. We go on a short break now. We'll be back, so stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now, let's join Chiazalam Ikie, who is standing by for stories from the financial sector.
A very warm welcome to Business News. Now, Nigeria's petroleum regulator, DPRO, has revoked 6 oil block licenses due to legacy debts. The move by the Department of Petroleum Resources was in furtherance of the presidential directive. The action comes as Nigeria takes a more aggressive approach to collecting taxes and royalties that the country says it owed. Meanwhile, Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Mohamed Barakindo, says the organization is committed to keeping oil markets balanced this year and beyond. Barakindo says there has been significant change in market sentiments in both equity and financial markets, which has worsened many institutions' outlook. Oil price slipped this week below $60 per barrel for the first time since January as a result of the escalating trade wars that is already showing signs of strain. And the European Central Bank on Thursday will decide whether the Eurozone needs more stimulus as its global peers move to shore up a recession-threatened global economy. And China's central bank has added 500 billion yuan to the financial system. The People's Bank of China offered the one-year medium-term lending facilities at 3.3%. China's policymakers have boosted efforts to ensure sufficient liquidity. That's the package. I'm Chiazalam Ekie.
Thank you, Chiazalam. And on President Muhammadu Buhari is felicitating with Pastor William Folorunsho Kumuyi of Deeper Life Bible Church as he turns 78 years old. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, indicates that the President recalls his meeting with the respected cleric at the State House, Abuja, last October, during which the latter shared deep insights about the country and how he prayed with him and for the entire country country, particularly in respect of the then forthcoming general elections. President Buhari applauds the divine wisdom and temperate nature which Pastor Kumuyi exudes at all times and prays that God will give him longer life and greater peace, greater grace to serve God and humanity. And now for highlights of stories that made headlines across the globe, let's join Uche Ugochukwu for details.
The African Union had suspended Sudan until a civilian government was formed, intensifying international pressure on the country's new military rulers to give up power. Diplomatic sources in Khartoum, however, said Ethiopia will launch a mediation effort on Friday. The moves came after security forces cleared protesters from a protest site on Monday, killing dozens of people, an action the United Nations and several foreign governments condemned. Leader of Denmark's Social Democrats said she would launch talks to form government, although she expects it will take time after a center-left election victory put her on course to become the country's youngest prime minister. The results showed Danish voters had rebelled against austerity measures and also dealt a blow to right-wing nationalists. And a German former nurse who put patients into cardiac arrest and claimed to be able to resuscitate them was convicted of 85 counts murder, making him what is believed to be the worst serial killer in modern German history. Oldenburg Court sentenced 42-year-old Nils Hogel to life in prison. Reports says the killing took place between 2000 and 2005, and his victims ranged from age 34 and 96. Finally, French President Emmanuel Macron said the country will never forget the sacrifice of the Allied troops who liberated it from Nazi Germany. Macron was speaking at the 75th anniversary of the D-Day operation that helped bring World War II to an end. US President Donald Trump and British Prime Minister Theresa May joined Macron at separate ceremonies along a 15-mile stretch of Normandy coastline, where more than 150,000 soldiers landed on June 6, 1944, under a hail of German fire. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And now on sports, Team Nigeria intensify preparations for Maiden Africa Beach Games in Cape Verde. Kene Ima Abodike has details and more on Sports Update. And on a sad note, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with Emir of Ilorin and members of the royal family, Kwara State government and indigents over the passing away of Alaja Sulu Kanaini Gambari, mother of His Royal Highness Emir of Ilorin Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, whose love and kindness transcended palace walls, reaching the poor and underprivileged. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President believes Alhaja Gambari's virtuosity will be greatly remembered by all those who met, stayed and lived with her, stressing that her life typified fear and love for Allah, clearly demonstrated in her humility, generosity, wise counsels and warmth. President Buhari urges the royal family to find solace in the will of Allah and take pride in the legacies of the Emir's mother, who was born into a life of privileges and opportunities, but consistently remained relevant to her community and nation and rendering services to humanity. The President prays that Allah grant eternal rest and give the family the fortitude to bear the loss. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari is commiserating with the Catholic Pontiff, Pope Francis, President and members of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria and the entire Catholic community in the country on the passage of Bishop Emeritus of Sokoto, Most Reverend Kevin Joseph Ajay. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari recalls Most Reverend Kevin Joseph's steadfast advocacy of cordiality between Christians and Muslims in the country. He described him as a peacemaker and bridge builder and recommends his sterling virtues to the younger priests and preachers and to all Nigerians at large. President Buhari prays for the repose of his soul. Aged 55, Most Reverend Kevin Joseph Ajay served as a priest for almost 50 years. He retired in Sokoto in 2011. And now time for a quick check for the weather prospect for Nigeria and some cities of the world. And that wraps up the news on NTA International. Thank you for being a part of it. I am Ruth Aguilera.